Hello everyone, I'm going to be doing a review and installation video for the new Hansshow F68 with CarPlay built into it. The reason I'm doing this, because I know that there's already installation videos for this online, is mainly because the wiring harness that I was sent does not match the installation videos that's on YouTube for Hansshow, or even the other people, the people that actually do reviews for Hansshow. They actually don't even match the harnesses that I received. This is the installation manual that comes with it. I mean, it's pretty vague in itself, but I mean, I'm going to try my best to help you in any way I can. But it comes with the installation manual. I've already opened up mine already because I started to install it and then realized after I'd already ran the wiring that the harness that they sent me for the screen did not match the installation video, and I had no idea what to do with it. This right here is the camera for it. I don't plan on installing it in mine because I don't really feel like there's a need for it, so I'll just keep that wrapped up. It comes with this spudger here to where you can get your panels off inside your car. These were actually in a plastic wrap. I'd taken them off so I could wear them during my installation process, but it comes with these gloves that actually say Hansshow on them. And then this is the bag. I'll get to the screen in a moment. This is the bag that comes with all your harnesses. This is the harness for the camera. This is a harness if you actually have an Intel version of a Tesla Model 3. I have a 2023 Model 3. So mine is an AMD chip, but if you have an Intel, this should be the one for your vehicle. I wish they could give you the option just to select which car you have and then just send you the harness for that, because I feel like they're probably charging you for this harness even though you may not even use it. And then this is the harness that they sent me for the AMD. These plugs did not match, with the exception of the plug that goes into the AMD port on the passenger side of my Tesla Model 3. But on the opposite end, it was supposed to be a black plug that you would run underneath the dash column, underneath the steering wheel, and then you would have to take the center console where the wireless charging pad is for your cell phone. You have to take that out and then basically use a jumper wire. At least in the previous harnesses, they had a jumper wire that would come off of here. You would plug that into the plug for the wireless charging pad for your car. And then from there, you would plug the jumper into the back side of that cable, and then that's what would give your screen the power. And then the AMD port on the passenger side is what gave you your data. For this, they made it actually a little bit simpler to install because you don't have to take your center console out. So I guess that's a positive, but it would have been nice if they would have updated the video on their YouTube page. I actually reached out to the customer service people in California. That's where Hansshow has their station. They had me send pictures of the harness I have. They wanted to see the inside of the connector to see what those look like, just to verify that I actually have the wrong harness. They had me take a picture of basically everything that I had that came in the box to make sure that nothing was purposely damaged. The next part is going to be the install video for how you actually run the new AMD cable for this F68 display from Hansshow. See you here in just a moment. Okay, welcome back. So now I'm going to start the installation video for the harness and the screen. In the video that the Hansshow sent me to update on how to install this, it actually included that they took this piece off first. But for me, at least in my experience, I've just found it easier to actually take this off first. So that comes right off. And then this piece right here, you have to be careful because at least on my car, you can see right here, on my car here, this panel here is just slightly behind the wood grain here. So I have to be careful when I'm pulling this off because I don't want to ruin the wood grain of my dash. So I just get a little piece of it out and then I can set that off to the side. And then from here, you just have to start popping loose the dash here. Okay, I've already pulled mine off a couple of times, so it comes out pretty easy. And then I'm just going to go around to the other side. I'm gonna go around to the other side and actually pull the dash off over there. Okay, so now I'm just going to, I've already popped this loose here. I'm just going to just pull this off now. Okay, there, I got that. Sorry, I forgot to mention, you actually have to pull this panel and this panel off as well. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, and then got that off. And then just be very careful pulling out your dash, because one mistake that I made, when some of these pieces in here are actually very sharp, and I actually scratched my steering wheel pretty bad. I actually had to get it replaced because I put a big gash down the middle of my steering wheel from not being too careful with the dash panel here. So that's one thing you need to be mindful of. And then the next thing to do is to pop loose the steering wheel panel here. Just be careful with it, because you know, if you put too much pressure on it, you can actually damage the panel. So just do a little bit at a time. And I can promise you, as long as you just do a little bit at a time, you'll be okay. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is take these clips out. I know in some of the other videos they actually take this this piece completely off, but you don't necessarily have to do that. All you really need to do is just push out these little clips right here. You just have to pull loose the sides, and then it'll pop right out. Just be careful when you do that. Next, I'm going to go to the passenger side, and I'm going to show you where to take one of the panels off over there, just to make things easier to get to. Okay, so same thing I'm going to do on the passenger side. I would encourage you to do this, that way you don't bend these pieces and accidentally break it or even warp it so bad that it turns the material white from where you stretched it. So the easiest thing to do is just to remove these clips right here. Just pop the clip out. Just sit it somewhere you won't lose it. I put it in my cup holder. And then from here, just go down through here, pop this loose, and this will slide right out. I already popped the one loose on the other side. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Again, just take your rubber molding here, pull it all the way down until you get to this crack in the seam here. Pop loose this clip, and then I usually just put it in my cup holder so I don't lose it. Next thing you do, just grab here, pull up on this part right here. Just be careful. You ain't got to force it. Go, and then slides right out. All right, so now for the wiring part. You have your jumper here. You'll take this. You have on my Tesla, and yours too, unless you've already got something installed aftermarket, this AMD port right here should be open. So from here, all you have to do is just plug this in, and then you can just tuck this in behind the other wiring, just like that, just to get that wiring out of the way, and in that way it won't be in the way when you have to put your panel back. And then something that they actually show you in the new Hansshow video that their customer service sent me is they actually take the cabling and just slightly push it under here. So I know in some of the other videos they show you to like tape it down, but at least in the Hansshow video this seems like it would be way simpler, because you don't have to be concerned with having to have tape to tape your wiring down. You can just slightly push it up under that, and it'll keep it out of the way of your clips here to where you can still get your dash back on without any issue. So I'm going to go ahead and run the rest of my wiring here, and then I'll be back in a moment. So when you get to the middle here, you'll find that these cables here, this one is for your camera, and this one here is for your main display. So when you get to this break in the cabling here, you can see it stretches out like that. You just want to take this portion right here. I know in the beginning I said don't take these clips out, but in the video they do show you actually running the cabling down underneath this. So you honestly just need to just pop one of these clips out here, and then just run the cabling down through the bottom here. That way you got a little bit of slack down here, and the cabling will be out of the way for the rest of the installation. And then once you get to this side over here, you have this jumper here. In the older harness, it would have a black connector here, and then you would have to run it underneath the dash, and then you'd have to take this complete center console out, with the exception of this door and the cup holders. You have to take out the entire wireless charging harness here, or wireless charging pad, And then once you do that, there will be a plug underneath there that you would actually plug in, and that's what gives your screen its power. But in this case, they made it a little bit simpler to where now all you have to do, you have this blue AMD plug right here. You just have to take this out, and then from your jumper, you would just plug the other end of the harness back in here, and then just make sure you tidy up the cabling just like that. Any of your excess, you could actually just stick down inside your column here, because it won't be in the way from you actually putting the screen in or putting this console back in when you're finished. So okay, so now I've got my my screen here. I don't have the back cloth or the leatherette piece back in here yet. I just wanted to take this and plug it in and show you that it does work. So I'll take this, plug it in. You can see it comes up Hansshow, Smart Your Vehicle, and there you go. And then once I get it fully installed, I'll start going through the settings and putting everything in the way it needs to be. But from here, I'm just going to go ahead and finish tidying everything up. So at the beginning, when I said that I was actually going to just leave that one leatherette piece in there, I was completely wrong. I should never have done that. You can see from this part here that I had a well of a time trying to get the screen mounted back in there. So the wiring, you specifically need to get it out of the way whenever you're putting the panel back on, because whenever I try to put the panel back on, I mean, every loose wire that was inside that column just kept getting in the way from me pushing the panel back down. So just make sure you actually get all the wiring out of the way before you start trying to put the screen in. Okay, so now you can see that I have my F68 screen with CarPlay installed. You can change the color in the menu, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. By default, at least on mine, it came as a black car, so I just had to go in there and change it to where it's red. As you can see there, it actually just changed to night mode because it's getting dark here where I am now. But you can see on this screen here that it has your miles per hour, which you'll see me doing some driving here in just a moment. It has your range, it has your battery level, it has the seat belts, the lighting for your headlights and your fog lights, and then of course if I open my door, it opens the door. I had a 10.25 inch screen in my car before, and it seemed like it was a lot smoother, like it actually closed the door a little slower, so it seemed like it was like following you as you did it. But this one's kind of a little bit more quick and snappy, but I mean, it doesn't bother me any. The other thing is the time up top. I've set the clock in the setting to be 24 hours, but for some reason it is not updating to do a 24-hour clock, which basically means it goes off of military time. So it's 5:02, it should be 17:02 where I am right now. You have your park, your reverse, your neutral, and your drive. So if I put my car in drive right now, you'll see it goes to drive, and then it has your car turns around, and then it shows you the road. The lines do turn blue when you have autopilot turned on. It does not show anything when you have cruise. Like on the main display for Tesla, it actually shows your cruise in blue. On the F68 screen, it doesn't show that. The only time anything turns blue here is when you actually set the autopilot, and the road on the left and right, or the lines on the left and right, actually turn blue. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to access the settings. So in order to do that, you just swipe from right to left. This little menu will pop up. The first one up here at the top is your main screen you see here. The next one down is your CarPlay. See here, I'm playing my Sirius XM station, Sirius XM Turbo. And then the next thing down is the camera. I don't have my camera connected. I didn't see the need for it, so I don't have that. And then the last thing down is your settings. Okay, so within settings, you have your miles, you have your PSI for your tires. You can change all of these. I've reached out to Hansshow customer service to ask what this CAN is here. It doesn't specify in the manual or lack thereof, and it doesn't say anywhere on any of the videos I've watched about this thing that actually tells you what CAN is for. And then you have your language here. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, the 24 hours. I've got this set to 24 hours at geometric time 7, and it doesn't update it to show the 24-hour clock. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. And then I've got my temperature set to degrees, or degrees Fahrenheit. And then here's where you change the color of your car. So by default, for me at least, it defaulted to black. So I just had to put it on red for my car. And then the next thing down over here is display. This changes brightness based off of the day. So for me, it actually just went dark not too long ago. You can actually change this to where it stays all black all the time. It'll stay light all the time. Light is just another way of saying daytime. So the screen would stay in its white state, if you want to call it that. And then auto, which it changes based off of the time of day. And then the next thing is UI. So the UI you saw before, that was actually had the speedometer over here, and then my car was over on this side. If you switch it here to the second UI, I'll swipe over and go back to the main screen. This is what this one looks like. It has your power consumption and everything dealing with your car. Electricity stuff goes over here, and then over here is your tire pressure. Don't really like that. I don't really need to. I'm not too concerned about my tire pressure, so I just leave that on the second UI there. And then the next thing down is CarLink. So by default, this is on normal. So when you have CarPlay open, it would show your speedometer over here on this side, and then CarPlay information over here on the left. For me, that's the way I leave it, because that way I can see the speed I'm driving over here while I'm in CarPlay as well. But if you tap this, you can put it in full screen, and that means CarPlay would stay in full screen for the entirety of the time you use the screen. This one right here, you would change this between Android and CarPlay. And then for something that I did on my screen here is I actually turned the volume all the way down for calls and the volume all the way down for music. And that's because I have a CarPlay automation set up to whenever this screen comes on and connects to CarPlay, it routes everything to my car audio. So I don't want to have to hear the music coming out of the speaker in the back of the screen here. So I just turn that all the way down, and that way after a few seconds my music starts playing through my car. So that's that part there. And then I'll select camera, which if you had a camera, it would show up here. I don't have one connected. And then the next thing is the version you have. So that is the basic user interface for my car. And I'll show you the CarPlay here. It operates just like a normal CarPlay would. Here's your apps here. But you can see the speedometer information, the lights, the basic information you need to know while you're driving is still over there. And of course, you can still use this just like you would any other CarPlay. And then if you hit home here within CarPlay, it takes you back to the main screen. So for here, I just did some light driving around my neighborhood just to show you that the speedometer and everything works. It shows you the car driving down the road. I mean, honestly, the screen is very responsive, and it works well. I couldn't really complain that much about the user interface while driving. Put my blinker on here, and as you can see, it's definitely in sync with the car's blinker. So that's the screen in a nutshell. I hope this has been informative to you guys, and hope this has helped you to understand this screen a little better, because at least when I got it, it was definitely confusing, especially when it showed up with the wrong harness. But I thank you all for sticking with me, and I appreciate your time, and you all have a great day.